Howdy everyone, it's Ethan Harty here. My wife Emily and I have made a trip down to Tennessee, and we're spending this week here with Jordan Goodwin and his wife Atlanta and their kids. And I've been out in the blacksmith shop with Jordan, and right now we're actually just ending the work on a project, and I really hope you enjoy this video.
So we're going to turn this round billet of steel. This is 1045 plain carbon steel. That's 2-inch round. We're going to be turning that into a hammer that is illustrated in this pattern book. And this pattern book is a reprint of basically a wholesale tool catalog from the late 18th and early 19th centuries. So this hammer right here is the one we're going to attempt to make. And this is a Lancashire pattern hammer. It's a variation of a fairly common design from 200 years ago, and I'm curious to try it out. I'm curious to use it. And so the first step is going to be heating this up and squaring it. We have to turn this round stock into square stock. It's 2-inch round now. We need somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.5 inches by 1 3/4 inches.
Yep.
I think we should start with it with a rectangular cross section.
And the reason that we start with a rectangular cross section is especially when we punch our hole, it is going to suck down some of the material and cause part of the billet to be less tall than it was originally. And so then when we square the whole thing down, we will end up with pretty much a square billet.
And as other blacksmiths have told me, always account for the suck, son. Balls, a lot of that's what got me started doing all this. All right.
Okay,
how am I doing on angle?
Now I would flip over.
Okay.
And now let's go a little lower angle. Now let's get less and less steep. Yeah, there we go. And flip over, I would, again.
For not seeing Star Wars, he's getting awfully close to Yoda here. Flip over, I would.
Does he speak backwards?
Yes. Hot enough?
I think so.
What do you think? Now you tell me how far you'd go in a heat. Like, you tell me when you want to heat it back up.
Well, I feel like we're starting to make a rhombus now that I'm looking at it.
A little bit off square. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So let's try and fix that, and I think and then we'll put it back in the fire.
I think I did it on the wrong corner that first time. It's almost opposite now. Almost overcorrected.
Oh, well then, that's good that we're getting it.
That's pretty decent. Why don't I strike the next heat?
Sure.
Ooh, that was a nice hit.
Yeah, nice job.
Am I doing all right?
I think you're doing awesome.
Weight-wise?
Yep.
Pretty chunky.
Well, I'll do this heat now.
Let's see.
When I'm looking at it at my angle too, I
Right.
can help bump you over a little bit.
I think that's pretty close. You like it? I think it's pretty darn close. Oh.
That tool is intimidatingly tall, but it shouldn't cause too much of a problem. Not that I'm any authority, but
there it is.
What do you think?
I think that's good.
Okay.
Good judgment.
All right, help me out here. Right there. What do you think?
Can you just flip it over? Keep it the same. No. Same orientation, and then flip. I should have specified this way, just because I wanted to see if the whole.
If it looks fairly even.
That's really centered. I didn't think it was so centered. Not in a way that you didn't center it, but in the way that sometimes we forge them.
Right, they
with
come
the
out.
eye off centered.
Right. What do you think?
I think that's good.
Go for it.
Yes, I love it. I would hold it just like that, just on the anvil there.
There we go. Perfect. There we go. All right.
I'm just going to lighten up a little.
I think we're a little tall now, but I think we want to leave it a little tall for the butchering.
And for the drifting too.
Right.
It'll suck down. I think that's wonderful.
All right, do you want to go for facets or take some more heat?
Well, I think we should line it up. We'll use the end of the heat to get the marks in, so when we come out, we'll be right and prepared.
I don't think that's quite far enough back. I don't know if that did anything or not. Here, see what you think.
Okay. And then a little bit more towards my side of the tool. Okay, now hit much lighter. Whoop. Had a coal fall out.
Is that light enough?
Yep, that's good. Just take a moment here. The one thing about the Bryan clan is that we move very slow. Bryan had this term. I've never heard him say it. I've only heard that he said it before. He would use it to teach his students when they would, because a lot of people have a tendency, especially like when they see people move the hammer tongs around, they're like, this has got to be like fast. And Bryan would say, don't get all herky jerky. You know, just like
slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Just slow, slow, slow. So when I can, I don't like to drive the drift very much into the steel, so I don't sit there and pound on the drift for 10 seconds. Just a little set in is good enough, because otherwise, even though we are pounding the drift in and that there is cold drift going in the hot hole, the drift is heating up more and more as we pound it because it's going through slowly. And so the less time that we can have that drift in the hole getting hot, the better. So just a little setting it in and then driving it a little each heat is going to be better than driving it all the way the first time and then not having very much to do.
Hard?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, and we'll leave that face and then we'll come back to that later. And so next heat, I think we'll stop there. That's as far as we want to go with these chamfers. And next we'll take a fuller and drive it down to butcher in for the peen. And we'll mark that out in this heat. I was getting so slow. We'll mark that out in this heat. Mark out while we have the ability to really look at the steel without it glowing, so it's when it's hard to tell. So we'll select the top and bottom. So I think that the facets, even though they're not, the depth isn't quite the same here, they're more in line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be more tempted to use this side as the side that's up.
Yep.
So
Sounds good to me. What do you think?
I think it's perfect. Not perfect.
I like it too.
Not perfect. Good enough, and I like where it is, kind of a thing. But we'll see. We'll see. We will see. Oh yeah.
All right, go ahead. Whoa. I mean, that's really not that far off.
Yeah. Why don't we just have a look at it quick after? Should we try and put that set down in with the flatter?
Yeah, we could.
Or with maybe the set hammer would be better?
Let's go ahead and try this first. One more. So what do you think?
Get that corner sharp, and then because that slopes down so much, we can round file that, the roundness in above it.
You like it?
I do. Let's take a strike.
Right now?
Yep,
Sure?
I'm sure.
Hard?
Hardish.
It's definitely helping.
Yeah, I like that. Set that up again, and we'll give it a hard hit again when it's hot.
It's coming out slowly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is awesome.
If this was a double-ended hammer, we could upset. Of course, that never really works to.
Yeah, I'm
Shrink
gonna
the
put
eye.
this drift a little bit more towards the back. I feel like. Do you want to drive that for
Yep.
me? Just wait.
Oh,
That's okay. Get that really clean.
you liking that?
Yes. You go fuller. So I'm very much feeling, I gotta feel that facet on the bottom and kind of let it sit there and dictate its own spot. Otherwise, I'll hold it at an angle and it'll be all side-goggling. Okay, I think we can finish this in this heat.
All right.
So just bear with me. Even if it may need a little bit of filing to get perfect.
Watch that notch in the anvil.
I've gone about as far as I would like to on the forging. And so what I want to do next, while we can have it hot, is I'm going to heat up the face end in the fire without trying to pit or scale as much of this as I can, and then hot rasp the fish mouthing off.
I like all 8 of those edges to be fairly straight. You know what I mean? Like the radius, I don't know how to put it. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's lined up with the flats of the hammer. But then I want to break off the corners in between a little bit.
You want me to put this square on it just to make sure? Would that help any?
What's your heat treatment sets
Typically
operation look like?
Typically when I do them, it's a differential heat treat with one quench, meaning that both the face and peen are hot.
Right, right. No, I get it. Do you have like some kind of
I actually have a
system where the water's like coming at both faces, or?
I actually put a bridge in the forge under the burner, and I put the hammer under the bridge, and so the flame does not touch the cheeks.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like they might get a little bit of color, but they will not get to the point of the faces. So, but in the coal forge, we could typically I would just put tongs in the eye and then flip the face.
Flip it. Yep, that's what I do. But so what about the quench? I guess that's what I was asking about more, is like what does your quench look like?
It looks like I stick the whole hammer in and vigorously move it around.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I do too. I just wondered because I've seen, like, Ben Snur has a barrel set up with
the pump,
water pump and everything, and I've seen other people with fancy rigs. And I just wondered what your.
No, I've heat treated like 550 hammers that way, just all by hand. Yeah. Just because I haven't bothered to make a cool setup yet.
And why bother if it works?
Yeah.
If your hammers, if you like the hardness, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm judging hardness on a hammer face by how easily it'll cut with a file, how easily it will ding.
Yep. I also probably quench a little bit hotter than other people would.
Oh yeah.
Like I've found that the critical temperature for 1045 is hotter than. You have to quench it hotter than like a 1090.
That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.